Hey everybody, part 2 of the Lindsay and Jill show. We talked about your prospects for the 2019 NFL draft, but you also have some clients that are looking to find a new home in the NFL. So that's what we're going to talk about today. First person up, Marshall Kane. He's a kicker. Tell me a little bit about him.
Marshall played at University of Iowa. Fun fact on Marshall, he went to the combine and he ran the fastest 40 time of the tight ends and the kickers, and he ended up getting the $10,000 check from Adidas for having the fastest 40 time in his combine workout group. So he beat all the tight ends.
Awesome.
And all the kickers. Not as many of the kickers and punters obviously participated in the 40, but I think he ran like a 4, maybe he ran a 4.5 or 4.6. He's really fast, really athletic.
Okay.
Another fun fact about Marshall is he played like every sport. Baseball, he was a wrestler, he was a kicker. I mean, he played everything. He's just a real great athlete. He's from a big wrestling family, actually. And but he was the starting kicker at Iowa and did very well, went to the combine. His first year he went to Miami. He signed an undrafted free agent contract with Miami, and he was fortunate to have Darren Rizzi as his coach. The following year, he signed a future deal with the Minnesota Vikings. And so then he went all the way through the Vikings camp, had a great camp. It came down to he and Kai Forbath. Unfortunately, the last preseason game, he missed an extra point, and they ended up
Going the other way,
which, anyways. Also during that season, the kicker from the Bengals got hurt. It was actually Randy Bullock, and so he ended up being on the active roster, I think 2 weeks with the Bengals, or he got paid for 2 weeks anyways because of when they released him. At the end of the year, he had several opportunities to go with different teams to be a kicker. That was the year of the Tampa Bay, disaster.
Yes.
The Giants were kind of not happy with their kicker. The Bengals called him again. I think Cleveland called him. Seattle called him. A lot of teams called him. The Giants had called first, and pretty much, and the other teams hadn't called yet. So that's the tricky part, because you can't really say no to anybody. But anyways, he ended up going to the Giants. So he went through the Giants training camp. In the end, Aldrich ended up beating him out. But what he did do in the off season, once he did not make it with the Giants, he got rid of he had like a little tiny jab step, and he got rid of that. And I think that's really made him a much better player. So he's like so ready. He's like ready to start somewhere. And he's a great guy. So if you're needing a kicker, like we know the Bears need a kicker right now, please, 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 I'd love to send Marshall to your place. But he's a great guy, really hard worker, really great athlete. And has had a lot of experience now. He's started in a regular season game. He's been through 3 training camps.
It sounds like he just needs a consistent starting opportunity to really prove himself, because he's got everything else under his belt.
Yeah, and this kid has a monster kickoff. Like, I mean, you can hear like the ball pop off his foot. So, and he's always had a great kickoff leg. I think his question mark was, his accuracy with field goals, but he's resolved that with his new technique. I know, and I'll give you an example. When you make a change as a kicker, sometimes it takes a while. Well, he had just made the change. He goes and works out for a team. He worked out for the Browns. Didn't go so well. But it was because he's Jill, I'm sticking to my change. And then he ended up being on the practice squad that year for the Giants, and they were like, wow, he made that change and he's killing it. And I said, yeah, he is. So I'm telling you, he's really ready. Please sign him. He's really ready. So
another guy you mentioned that is ready to go, and another special teams guy is Ryan Navarro, who was part of the Memphis AAF that is no longer.
Yep.
So what do you have to say about him?
Well, Ryan did an absolute fabulous job. He was so fortunate to be one of the 6 long snappers that got an opportunity in the alliance with the news teams. And he played for the Memphis team, and he started the whole time. He did a great job. He really enjoyed it. In fact, after it was all over, the GM said, yeah, that kid has a lot of talent. In fact, he's got more talent than he even realizes, because he really is a great snapper. He's very athletic, and he can cover. And he is now really ready because he was in the punt pro style the whole time during the Memphis Alliance, whereas when he was in college, he had a Australian punter. So I think it's really good when they get to make that shift and learn all the blocking stuff is really the big thing. And he did a great job with that, and I know he had a great experience in the Lions League. He actually really enjoyed it, and I think they all enjoy. I mean, he really only had to snap 4 times a game because they had no extra points. So all he had to do was snap for.
His job was pretty easy.
Yeah, he had to snap for field goals, and he had to snap for the punter. So that was it.
All right, and then we're actually closing this out with another specialist.
Yes.
Kip Smith, formerly with the Eagles, and he is a kicker and a punter.
Right, he's a dual guy. He can do both. Out of college, he did all 3. He was a punter, and he did the kickoffs and field goals. But once he was going to go in the NFL, we all felt like he was a better punter than a kicker. So he just worked on his punting, and the Eagles signed him to be the punter. Well, lo and behold, he starts in training camp, and the kicker gets hurt. So he ends up being the starting kicker for training camp rather than ever getting to punt, which I think in the end hurt him because he hadn't worked on his kicking very much. Mm-hmm. And actually it was Cody Parkey that he ended up going in for because Cody got hurt during training camp.
Okay.
And he made all of his field goals, and he did fine on his kickoffs. But, when you're watching a kicker, you want a really high trajectory, and it just didn't look like a really high trajectory, even though he made all his kicks.
Through the uprights, but
he made it through the uprights. But you're like, oh well. But anyway, so Kip is available, and he does have NFL training camp experience. So that's about it. Who's available? We could go into my coaches, but.
Players. We'll stick to players for now. This is the time for players to get picked up.
I'll do another one on coaches. But if you're watching this and you want to be a sports agent, I shot a new course, a new online course called Sports Agent Academy. Jill McBride Baxter Sports Agent Academy, and it's an online course for people who want to be a sports agent. It's just all the nuts and bolts that you need from start to finish to become a sports agent. So I'm actually really looking forward to getting that edited and online, so that's something to look forward to. If you're a player watching this and you are trying to get an agent and can't get one, or looking for a new agent, I have, you can contact me, but also I have an online course on how to represent yourself as well, and that's already up and online.
So no matter what, your bases are all covered. And I sat through the course on the Sports Agent Academy, and I learned a lot. So
yeah, and you actually looked at the whole thing of how to represent yourself.
Yeah. So all 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah.
Learned a lot throughout those courses. So
yeah. Okay.
All right. That'll do it for us. Bye, guys.
Bye.